All right. Very catchy tune, right? Dun, 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 dun. That's going to get stuck in your head. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. All right. Uh, you've heard expressions like, don't let opportunity pass you by, yes? Or the sinister, I'm going to make you an offer you can't refuse. I can't do the voice, but you know what I'm talking about, right? It's opportunities that we encounter, and then sometimes we let those go, and others we go, huh. So we miss opportunities where we actually take the wrong opportunities. But I want to talk about today the opportunities that Naomi and her daughter-in-law, Ruth, had right in front of their eyes. Now, just a little refresher course. Naomi was from a town called Bethlehem, and all this is found in the book of Ruth. I'll tell you exactly. It's on the screens, Ruth chapter 3. But what has happened in chapter 1 and 2 is Naomi and her husband and their two boys, their two sons, were going through a famine. And because of that, they went to another land, the land of Moab, close cousins. And in that land, the boys found love, so they married two ladies, Moabite women. One of those ladies was Ruth. Now, here's what happened. The dad died, so Naomi's husband died. The two boys died after about 10 years of marriage. So the three ladies were left. What are you going to do? So Naomi decided she's going to go back to Bethlehem, to her hometown. And the ladies, the daughters-in-law said, we're going to go with you. So they start trekking back. And as they're going back, Naomi says, wait a minute, hang on a second. You ladies, go back to your families. Go back. Look, where are you going to come? You're going to come to a foreign land? Just go back. One of the daughters, after Naomi insisted, she did go back, but Ruth didn't. She stayed. So now imagine Ruth in a strange town. She doesn't know anybody, right? And then at one point, they got to go eat. So Ruth, by the way, all this, if you're on YouTube, you can listen to the two messages that I've given already on that. But Ruth goes out and starts, gleaning from a field, and a field owned by a gentleman named Boaz. So now the story goes in chapter 3. We're going to pursue the storyline in chapter 3 of Ruth. And what I want you guys to understand is, as you look at these opportunities, I want you to keep these three things in mind. I want you to keep commitment, I want you to keep pursuit, and then distractions. Are you distracted? Pink elephant. Whee! Your mind is just went, right? All right. So I want you to think commitment, pursuit, and distractions. I like to read the text, the entire chapter 3. And what I like to do is, as I read the text, I'm going to stop along the way here, because I like to provide some color commentary about what's happening, some culture insight, and for you to really understand, and a bit of the historical context as well. So I'm going to start reading with verse 1. You ready? Here it is, chapter 3, verse 1. If you have your Bibles, by all means, follow along. If you'd rather just listen in, that's okay too. Let me take opportunity right now to say hello to the people online, as well as any of you that might be first time here, or maybe second time. I don't know. People will tell me that maybe there's a second time that's more scary than the first. I don't know. Hey, you'll figure it out. But you're fine. You're fine. Just come on in, listen to the text, and let's see what we can do. Kids, this is for you too. So don't fall asleep, because I want you guys to pay attention to this. First verse. One day, Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, said to her, "My daughter, I must find a home for you where you will be well provided." Now, again, this is where you're going to have to be like, oh, wait a minute, Pastor is going to stop along the way. Yeah, this is one of the stops. But Pastor didn't get through the first verse. I know. Hear me out. The reason I want to mention this, because there's a little nuance here. When Naomi says, I want to find a home for you. What she's really saying is, I'm thinking long term, Ruth. We've been together here in this little home here, but I'm looking to settle you down. That's what she's saying. So, Ruth, I need to find for you a stable, long-term arrangement. After all, Ruth, you're a young lady. And I don't know, I might be guessing, but she might be attractive, right? Okay, so there she is, and Naomi's thinking, I got to think long-term. That's important, to think long-term. Verse 2. Now, Boaz, with whose women you had worked, a relative of ours. Tonight he will be winnowing barley on the threshing floor. Now, here's a quiz for you all, suburbanites. What's winnowing? Who knows what winnowing is? Show of hands. Who doesn't? Well, don't raise your hand. Okay, what's winnowing? Winnowing, so this is what's important, right, to understand the cultural context. So they just harvested the grain, the barley, right? So they harvested this grain. What they need to do now is they need to go through a process where they take the middle part of the grain, which is the good stuff to eat, and then get rid of the stuff on the outside, the shell. So they need to do that. So they beat it, and then they blow a current through this grain while they toss it up in the air. I don't know, what can I toss in there? Oh, I have a thing of money here if I was to. So here's a thought. Let's assume that into this basket we have some bills and we have some coins. And if, let's say that I want to keep the coins, I throw this up in the air. I'm not going to do that. Kids are like, yeah, do it, I dare you. No, I'm not going to throw the money up in the air. Okay, so you throw it up in the air. The bills are going to go like this. The coins are going to drop. But if I have a fan blowing here, they didn't have fans in ancient times. They let the wind do it. The coins remain here, and then the rest scatter. That's winnowing. And then they remove the chaff, they call it. And what happens is they keep the good stuff and they burn the bad stuff. So what they would do it on a threshing floor. Imagine a round circle stone, maybe it's like this stage here. Round, a little bit bigger, and then it has to be flat. So that's what they would do. They would throw it up on this stone. So I want you guys in your mind's eye to just think and imagine that. So there's Boaz out there. So Naomi tells Ruth, verse 3, wash, put on perfume, get dressed in your best clothes, then go down to the threshing floor, but don't let Boaz know that you're there until he has finished eating and drinking. When he lies down, note the place where he's lying, then go and uncover his feet and lie down. He'll tell you what to do. Okay, cultural context, right? Wait, why you uncover his feet? All right, so here's what's happening. First of all, what you're seeing here, you're seeing examples of wisdom and excellence, not control and manipulation. Look, when it's all said and done, what's wisdom? Well, if you're going to meet an important person, if you're going to go through an important milestone. Okay, so imagine an important milestone. We had weddings here last week. 2 weddings. Important milestone. Well, you better believe they're going to put on their best. So that's exactly what Naomi is telling Ruth. That Ruth, look, something big is about to happen. So what you need to do is worry about your physical appearance. That's important. Make a good impression. Be clean. Be presentable. That's important. Then Ruth, listen, timing is important. Don't just rush in. Don't say everything that can be said. Just timing. Timing is important. Conversations, important conversations must be done in the right timing. And then the other thing is, listen, Ruth, you're a Moabite, and you're not quite an Israelite. So I know you know a little bit about us, and you observed us, but you've got to follow the right manners, the right custom, the right protocol in that situation. So, because you know what? Actions do indeed speak louder than words. So observe the cultural norms. Now you might be thinking, what's with the lift, why uncover the man's feet? Well, people have thought and said, well, why is that? Naomi and Ruth don't give us the why. But most people, and people that are familiar with the cultural context, they think that it's a gentle way of waking somebody up. All right, so imagine this gentleman, Boaz. He's out in the open air. He finds a place to rest. He gets a little blanket, or a cloak. He puts it over, and then he goes to sleep. I mean, I've worked hard. I had some food. I had some water. Dead tired. And then night comes, stars shine, and all of a sudden you realize that the temperature is going lower and lower and lower. And then you realize, I'm a little cold. What's going on? Well, if your feet are uncovered, of course you're going to wake up. So most people think it's a gentle way of waking this person up in the middle of the night. Let's see what happens. And again, Naomi is instructing her to do all this, but then afterwards she's like, no, after you do all that, just wait. Let the person respond of their own free will. So here's what happens. Verse 5. Ruth says, I will do whatever you say. So she went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law told her to do. When Boaz had finished eating and drinking, by the way, people have said, oh, is he getting drunk? No. He's going to have a nice, hard working day the next day. It's eating and drinking. It's most likely water. There's no alcohol mentioned in here. So after he finished eating and drinking, the man is tired and was in good spirits and like, oh man, he's not hangry, in other words. He went over to lie down at the far end of the grain pile. Ruth approached quietly, uncovered his feet, and lay down. In the middle of the night, something startled the man. He turned, and there was a woman lying at his feet. Who are you? He asked. I'm your servant Ruth, she said. Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are guardian redeemer of our family. Cultural context again. Is she saying, hey, I'm cold, give me the blanket? No, she's not saying that. Now, this is absolutely amazing because this phrase, spread the corner of your garment. See, in the Jewish mind, it's like, wait a minute, I know what that is. Like, well, how do you know? Well, it's because it's in Ezekiel. The same image in prophet Ezekiel in chapter 6 says the following. See, here's what happened. Ezekiel 16, Israel is an abandoned baby girl that God finds. So Ezekiel the prophet tells the nations, like, look, you nation, you're all like a little baby girl that's out in the wilderness with no protection. And you know what happened, Israel? The mighty God brought you to a place where you can flourish. And made sure that you are grown and you're growing and you're flourishing. Now, again, this is ancient poetry. This is how the prophets talked back then. And the prophet says, yeah, but as you're flourishing and growing, you've got no clothes on. And to our mindsets, Western, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Well, that means she's poor. So while she's growing and, has no covering, the Lord comes back and says, oh my goodness, you have no covering. Let me protect you. And this image of bringing the corner of your garment over the person is the image here. See, in Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 8, I listen to this poetry. He says, later I passed by, this is God saying, and when I looked at you and saw that you were old enough for love, I spread the corner of my garment over you and covered your naked body. That's where Ruth got that image. Okay? I gave you my solemn oath and entered in a covenant with you, declares the sovereign Lord, and you became mine. What's he doing? The mighty God, King of all, marries Israel, personified as a woman. So there's a love relationship here. So the mighty God says, look, you are mine. I brought you in. I loved you. And of course, it went down the wrong way when Israel became unfaithful. So this beautiful image of love is portrayed by Ezekiel the prophet, and Ruth says, spread the corner of your garment over me. And that's when Boaz goes, wait, what did you say? Excuse me? Can you say that again? Because he knew exactly what that meant. How do we know? Well, because in verse 10 he says, the Lord bless you, my daughter. He replied. Florence translation, it's hubba, hubba, hubba. All right? I mean, he goes, wow. Oh. The Lord bless you, my daughter. He replied, how do I know this? Here's what he says next. This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after younger men, whether rich or poor. So maybe Boaz, a little bit of white. I don't know. Maybe he was not a young pup. I don't know. But here's Boaz. The moment she says, spread your corner over me, he understood what was happening. Why? He probably knew his scriptures. He knew what Ezekiel said. It's like, oh, really? Bless you. How exciting. Oh my goodness. I knew you were kind, but you are so much more kind to go after this old geezer. Again, my translation, not this one. Now, verse 11. And now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I will do for you all you ask. What's she ask? Well, to put the corner? No. There's meaning behind that ask. She's asking him to marry him. To marry her. She's doing a marriage proposal. Now she had to get dressed and put perfume on. I mean, who goes to an engagement party looking, after doing drywall or something, right? No, you got to wash up. You got to put some perfume on, right? So she's going to an engagement party. Whose? Hers. All right. So now, my daughter, don't be afraid. I'll do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character. So Boaz understands and sees this marriage proposal for what it is, and actually he sees it as a blessing to him. I mean, he's the one that's providing for her, but he's like, oh my goodness, you are blessing me. You're showing me favor and kindness. She's doing him a big favor. I guess he's marrying up, I don't know, right? All right, verse 12. And this is Boaz saying, although it's true that I'm a guardian redeemer of your family, there is another who is more closely related than I. Again, guardian redeemer, as I said last week, is it's a Hebrew term. It's a legal term. This is something that you'd find in legal contracts. And it is the obligation of the closest relative to provide for the widow whose husband passed. And in that provision was not just material blessing, but also descendants. So this is a legal allotment that the Lord put in the laws that he gave to the Jewish nation. So Boaz is saying, I am the guardian redeemer, but actually I'm number two. There's another guy. I'm like, oh boy, fly in the ointment here. What's going on? Hey, by the way, opportunities can be like, remember when I said that opportunities have this kind of commitment and pursuit and then distractions? Yeah, we have that. And there's a fly in the ointment. And whenever opportunities are, sometimes it's not a smooth road. It's a rocky road. I'll tell you a little bit about that. Okay, so there's another who's closely related, verse 13. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to do his duty as a guardian redeemer, good. Let him redeem you. But if he's not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Lie here until the morning. So she lay at his feet until morning, but got up before anyone could be recognized. And he said, no one must know that a woman came to the threshing floor. What's happening? He's just protecting her reputation. He's helping her with additional cultural considerations that she needs to be aware. He wants that no one in the town to question her character, because she is seen as a woman of noble character. So that's why that is happening. He also said in verse 15, bring me the shawl you are wearing and hold it out. And she did so. He poured into it 6 measures of barley and placed the bundle on her. Isn't that nice? 6 measures of barley. Wow, that's a lot, right? And then she takes it, and then it says, then he went back to town. Now, I got to stop here because I remember when I told, if you've been around, I say, look, whenever there's something in the text that I need to point out that people have had controversies over, I need to point it out. Well, here it is. Are you ready for the big controversy? Are you ready for the big discrepancy? For the big contradiction in the Bible? Okay, here it is. Some, ready? You ready? Okay. Some scholars found manuscripts, and these manuscripts have said, instead of then he went back to town, the manuscripts say then she went back to town. We found a contradiction. Well, okay. Maybe we find a typo. Meaning is the same. What is it? They went separate ways. Now, did she go to town? Did he go to town? Well, you know that he went to town eventually. Well, she had to go back to her mother-in-law, so she went to town. So which one is it? I don't know. Some manuscripts said he went. Others say that she went. Bottom line, it doesn't change the meaning of the passage. They just went in opposite direction. Yes, question? Excellent question. So the question is, what is the measurement of the scoops that he gave her? I don't know that for the top of my head, but I know we can figure some of that out. One way to think of it is a measure of barley. Think of it, even in ancient times, right? They would have these things that you scoop into a basket. And you don't want to have a tiny little one go 1, 2, 3, 4. And you want to have a giant one that's too hard to lift. So think somewhere in the middle, So whatever, I don't know, a few pounds at least. Because he helped to help her to put it on her, to carry her. Yes, Ryan, another question. 6.1 gallons. Thank you, Ryan, for doing the research. And by the way, this is what I want you guys to do. Ask questions and also keep your phones out. Do some research. Take notes. Write in your notebooks. This is important. I'll tell you why in a second. Thank you. So that's a lot of measures that she got. Poor girl. Oh! All right. So place the bundle on her, and then they went separate ways. Verse 16. When Ruth came to her mother-in-law, Naomi asked, how did it go, my daughter? How did it go? Isn't that what parents ask? Well, what is it? Right? Then she told her everything Boaz had done for her and added, he gave me these 6 measures of barley, whoa, saying, don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed. He said that? Well, clearly, where did he say that? Well, I don't see it earlier, Pastor. What's going on here? Listen, just because it's in the text doesn't mean that it didn't happen. So oftentimes, the conversations that we have here in the text are either a summary or only the main points. But when we piece things together, they've had a little bit more conversation. So clearly, he's like, hey, ancient Jewish custom, right? Ancient Middle Eastern custom. You don't show up empty-handed. I grew up with that, by the way. You never go anywhere and show up empty-handed. So he's doing the same thing. Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed. Then Naomi said, wait, my daughter, until you find out what happens. For the man will not rest until the matter is settled today. In other words, Ruth, this is the hardest part. You need to wait. Oh, no, what's going on now? No, Ruth, you'll do everything that she promised, but now you wait. Just wait and see. And that might be the hardest lesson for her. So what's our application for today? Application is the 3 words that I mentioned earlier, and that is commitment, pursuit, and distractions. Commitment, pursuit, distractions. Let's get into commitment. The text that we just read, we see the commitment of Ruth following up and following through. She didn't just say, okay, mother-in-law, let's get you to Bethlehem. Okay, we got you to Bethlehem. You're settled in. You found your family. Okay, you're good? Good. I'm good too. And I'll check you later, okay? Bye. No, she didn't do that. She followed through. We're talking about commitment. And this commitment sometimes, for some of us, it's so hard. Commitment. It's staying with it. Pursuing it. Oh, I'm going to do something exciting. I have a new hobby. And let's say my hobby is to make little wood horses. And I'm making these wood horses, and the first one I make breaks. Oh, that's it. It's too hard. Let me pursue another hobby. Well, what if I stick with it? Okay, the horse broke. What if I stay with it? What if at the first break, I don't just say, oh, this is too hard, let me find something else. See, commitment is like that. So instead of Ruth becoming wrapped up in herself, she stays. And she's a blessing. See, I think that whenever we don't follow through on commitments, it's probably because we're too much wrapped up in ourselves. It's too hard. My muscles hurt. It's so uncomfortable. I don't want to go there. I mean, Pastor, I would come more often, but I don't know. I don't go to church. I'm like, okay, that's fine, yeah. Commitment. So I think that's something that we can take today for us. Something out of this text that says commitment is worth pursuing. All right, let's talk pursuit. What is this pursuit? Listen, when we talk about pursuit, we can pursue kingdom kind of opportunities, or we can pursue worldly opportunities. See, these two have opposite goals. If you pursue something that you're so passionate about, I don't know, pick something that is, I want to make lots of money. One of my earliest pursuits in my 20s, I wanted to make lots of money. I was so focused on that because I wanted to make lots of money. Yeah, the Lord had patience with me. I was an idiot, I know. This has easy to identify opposite goals. Some of them, some pursuits. But what about those pursuits that are like, what if the pursuit is good? What if the pursuit is, kids came and all that. Well, I wanted to provide for my family. Well, that's a good pursuit, right? That's a good goal, right? But what if I pursue it in the wrong ways? What if I have wrong methods for pursuing that? So it's not just the goal. Now, again, remember, some pursuits, some goals are just so opposite, like, oh, yeah, it's clear, this is evident. No. But others are somewhere in the middle. It's like, well, it's a good goal, but we're going about it the wrong way. This is the one that's most dangerous. You know why? Because Satan uses that. He says, oh, you want to be a follower of God? Yes, you do. How wonderful. Go to church every Sunday. And we're like, oh, yeah, that sounds good. I'm going to go to church every Sunday. Oh, and not only that, look at all the other people that don't go to church every Sunday. Like, oh, yeah, there's quite a lot of people. You are better than they are. Oh, yeah, I am. Well, don't you want to be a good child of God? Yes. Well, you have to walk up a little straighter. You have to, go tell all those horrible people how horrible they are. And go and say, you know what? Be like me. And all of a sudden, self-righteousness comes into place. So you're pursuing the right goal, but you're pursuing it with wrong methods. Because the evil one loves when you do that. He wants you to say, you know what? That's a good thing, but do it my way. By the way, he did that to Jesus. Jesus is the King of Kings. He's the king of this world after Satan fell. By the way, right now, he's so easy to get you all to do his will. He is so good at it. He is so conniving. He is so amazing at his job that he can deceive Christians. And the Christians go, oh yeah, that sounds pretty good. I want that goal. And then we're doing it our own way. And our pride goes. Right? Usually pride starts. Well, do you know what I did? Well, yeah, I do. The Lord says. Well, Lord, I come to church every Sunday. I give money in the basket every Sunday. Not once I missed. And when I miss, I make it up, sometimes with interest. Okay, all right. But what about your neighbor? What about a family member for whom you are not the light of Christ, but quite honestly, devil incarnate? See, the devil loves it, absolutely loves it, when we pursue good goals in the wrong way. Loves it. Don't be deceived. Do not be deceived. He loves to deceive. He's a liar. When it's all said and done, when it comes to the pursuit, unless it's one of those goals that are so clear that you know, oh yeah, not that one. I want to be the best drug dealer in town. Like, ooh, okay, and that's not, unless you're a pharmacist. So what do you do? Here's what I'm going to suggest to you. I'm going to suggest to you the same words that Naomi told Ruth. Do your best, but then trust God with the rest. Because sometimes you will be deceived. I can tell you for a fact that the devil will deceive you sometimes. So what do? Well, recalibrate and readjust. Recalibrate and readjust. And do your best. I'm like, oh, I'm going to learn from that one. And then trust him with the rest. So we talked about commitment. We talked about pursuit. Let's talk distractions. Distractions. Time wasters. Distractions are live thieves. Let me pronounce this correctly. You know, like when you live, you're not dead. Life thieves. That's what distractions are. They will steal the life from you. They will steal the time from you. And there's so many distractions all around us, yes? Get your phones out. Distraction number one. Yes? The news. Distractions. I'm not saying don't be informed. But how many times do you go there and go, and then all of a sudden you go, oh my goodness, that's 3 hours? Yeah, that was 3 hours. Distractions. Distractions. You all know what I'm talking about. But Pastor, I'm so lonely. I don't have any friends. That's a distraction. Your thoughts could be distraction. But I've been so much trauma, Pastor. I have PTSD. I'm so poor. My family's far away. You realize Ruth could have said all those things. She went through trauma. And instead of focusing on those distractions, Ruth is saying, no, I'm going to focus on my commitment. I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to pursue a life that is according to God's will, and I am not going to focus on my distractions. Ruth could have said all the things that the devil wants to whisper to you today. Ruth could have said, but Pastor, I have anxiety. Well, okay, do you think that Ruth didn't have anxiety? I mean, do you really think that healthy people don't have anxiety? They do. So what do we do with it? Well, let's handle it. I mean, if it needs to go to, let's go to a therapist, right? But let's get back on that horse. Commitment, pursuit of the good things. Do not let the distractions, whatever it is for you, own you. Because then you're focusing on the minors instead of the majors. All right, commitment, pursuit, distractions. What are the action items? So if this is something that we can take out of the text today, what can we do? Give me some very specific things that we can do today. Here's something about commitment. The action that you can do right now is to figure out your current commitments. So write down somewhere your current commitments and prioritize them in order of how much attention, time, energy, focus they require. And this moment, you probably think, oh, Pastor, you have no idea how busy I am. I have so many commitments. I have to go on this. This is, oh my goodness. Like, I know you all are busy. I get it. But here's the thing. Put that down, literally on a piece of paper. Write down your commitments. And then ask this question of all the commitments. Do they help you align with God's will? Do the commitments that you are part of, well, Pastor, I have to go to work. Well, I didn't say don't go to work. Well, I have to go shopping. Well, yeah, fine, go shopping. Well, I have to take care of my elderly family. Like, okay, good. Yes. Well, I have health issues, Pastor. I have to go to the doctor. No problem. Do these commitments help you align with God? If not, disengage. But I've been part of that for so long. Do they help you align with eternity? No. Then disengage. Well, what about if they do, if they do align? Well, okay, if they do align with God's call to your life and His will, then perhaps start paying attention to the details. See, details matter. See, God has you there for a reason, wherever that commitment is. So the details are going to be informative. Here's what you can do. You've heard of gratefulness journals or being thankfulness journals where you write down what you're grateful for? Brilliant. Do that. But here's something else that you can add. What if you were to write down in your journals opportunities? Not just any old opportunities, but kingdom opportunities. So whatever commitment that you're in that you have to be at, I get it. Start paying attention to the details and start putting down ideas, whatever comes to your mind, whatever the Lord is giving you for kingdom opportunities. And I'm not just saying, going to somebody and, regurgitating a sermon or just throwing up on them with the Bible. No, that's not a kingdom opportunity. Maybe a listen, maybe a friendship, maybe giving hope. So journaling, my friends, you know what journaling is like, right? Journaling is like a good stew. You got to let it simmer. So put those things down. Something you can do this afternoon. Okay? That's part of your commitment. You analyze your commitment. All right, pursuit. Pursuit. We're talking about big picture and little picture. Okay, big picture and little picture. Big picture, pursuit of the big things. Little picture, I don't know. I'm hungry. I need to find my dinner. All right, okay, fine. Do you know what you should be pursuing, big picture and little picture, to align with God's way? Which means that you may have to let go of selfish pursuits. I can tell you that I had a selfish pursuit of greed. I had to let that go. So embrace God's call, pursue God's mission in your commitments. So as you pursue, as you start thinking of what you're going to let go, that's when you say, what is my next practical step? I don't know how to pursue my big dream, but I need to figure out my next step. Now, some of you might need to let go of your dream. Let me say that again. In pursuing God's mission and call for you, some of you may have to let go of your dream. The way you let go of your dream is not like, take it and toss it away. Not that. The way you let go of your dream is you take your dream and you present it before the Lord and say, Lord, this was my dream. It's yours now. Tell me what to do with it. And then you present it to Him, you let go, and you step away. And then if it's from Him, He will say, thank you. I want you to pursue it this way. Or He might say, thank you. Let's worry about something else. But take your dream and put it before Him and let Him handle it. Okay, what about distractions? Woo! I already told you that your devil, the adversary, your adversary, the devil, would absolutely love for you to just be bogged down in the time wasters of your life. Do you know what your time wasters are? Okay, your facial expressions are telling me yes, Pastor. I know. So I won't even look at you, all right? Because I can totally see you going like, yeah, I know what it is. I actually know where my time wasters are. So listen, your time wasters are that which kills you. The time wasters are becoming the major focus in your life. So what we need to do is focus and refocus. Focus and refocus. Here's how you do that. Set up small triggers in your home, in your car, wherever your office is. Set up small triggers so that when you engage into time wasters. When I was little, my favorite thing is to look out the window and daydream. And I was doing that for hours. And I was supposed to do my homework. I didn't do my homework, okay? Now, some of you is, binge watching who knows what. And others of you is, gaming. And others of you is who knows what else, okay? Shopping or, just look, the time wasters. That's when you focus and refocus. The way you do that, you set up triggers. If I was to mention to you a delicious strawberry rhubarb pie, the one that Jenny made yesterday, and it's absolutely delicious. It's mouth-watering. It's sweet. It's tart. The crust is flaky. Is your mouth-watering? Yes. I'm triggering you. It set up triggers so that distractions come in front of you and go, I need to recalibrate. I need to recalibrate. Gentlemen, whoever... You see somebody walking by and your thoughts go in the wrong direction. You need to recalibrate. Put triggers there in your mind to say, that is wrong. I'm going down the devil path. And when I'm going down the evil path, he's going to put his claws in me and I'm going to be more and more susceptible to going down the wrong path. And those distractions are going to suck the life out of you. So you need to put triggers in place to go, wake up from the slumber. Wake up from this distraction. I've spent how many hours on this? I need to move away and step away. Step away from the distraction, please. Do you understand? We're talking about commitment. It requires grit, people. Pursuit, it requires sacrifice and humility. You handle it. And distractions, it requires you to step away from it, please. Put it down. Put it down. All right, I better stop because we're going over time here. Let me do this. Let me pray, and then Dan, let's bring you up here. You can tell us about what's happening. Lord Jesus, I pray that our mind and heart be just committed to you, and that we would pursue the kingdom, and that we would just put at your feet the dreams and the expectations that we have, and that we put them at your feet and ask you to do with them whatever you wish. And Lord, protect us from the distractions, from the mundane, from the little things that suck the life out of us. And I pray all this in Christ's name. Amen.